What's your "what the frickin' frick is this" moment in your dating history? So I've known this guy for almost a year now. Not really good friends or anything, more casual acquaintances. We have a bunch of common friends and see each other from time to time, parties, etc. A couple of months ago, he started messaging me, first on Facebook, then by text. He got my number from a friend of mine. He didn't ask me for it. And most of the time, I responded just to be polite. He's nice enough, but not really my type. So when we started dropping hints about meeting up, I just turned him down and said I'm busy or would just catch up next time there's a gathering with our friends. That sort of thing. Fast forward to last week and he asked me out again, which, if I recall correctly, is the 6th time in the past 2 months. I finally decided to at least give him a chance, cause hey, what could go wrong anyway? And who knows what I'm missing and all that jazz. Worst case scenario, it would be awkward, but we've talked more than a few times, so I was thinking it can't be that bad, and we could actually have a pleasant time. Date night comes, and we meet up in the city after work. We have dinner, nice, cutesy Japanese place, conversation was okay. I was certain at this point that it's really not going to take off, he really isn't my type, but I was having a pleasant enough time and he was a total gentleman and not bad to talk to. The bill comes, and I was going to suggest a quick coffee before heading home. However, he said that there's something he had made an appointment for us for, and we need to rush off and make it in time. I was a bit intrigued and excited. Was it a movie or a show, a play, as he knows I'm into theater? So we hurry off and he took me to a high-end luxury mall with an attached wing for offices. We went up, wait, this is an office lobby. What the? It was a frickin' weight loss center. So he explains that he's part of this company, he works for them part-time basis as a distributor, and he wanted to introduce me to their products, which would revolutionize my lifestyle and make me the healthiest I've been in my entire life. For your information, I'm 5'5" and 135 pounds. I was totally stunned at this point, so I was just nodding like an idiot the whole time we were walking inside. He then left me with his smarmy teammates, who proceeded to give me an orientation about their company and a run-through of their health supplements. When he got to the part where the weight loss products are, the smarmiest one said, "Ooh, now this is what you've been waiting for. I've saved the best for last." I just sat through it because I knew that if I started to say something, I was definitely going to burst and make a spectacle of myself. There was a seminar ongoing and we were at a little table to the side. After I flat out said that I'm not interested in any of the products and frankly don't believe that I need health supplements, I eat well and exercise regularly, they started on the second phase, introducing me to the business aspect of it. Basically, it was a networking model of business where you not only sell the products, you also recruit people to sell them, and they would be under your team, and you get a commission for every sale they make. They rhapsodized about the wonders of the product, how easy it is to sell, and how much money I could be making, because they could tell I have the right kind of personality and network for it. Registration was only $1,000, and it was consumable in products, which I could either use or sell to get my registration money back immediately. I wish I could say I flipped the effing table and screamed at them to F themselves with their health supplements and hope they overdose on their products. But no, right after the talk, I just said I should head home since it was getting a bit late. The guy actually messaged me to say that he had a good time and he hopes to see me again, and that I would consider their products and the business opportunity. I called up some friends and went out for drinks because F your health supplements, that's why. You know, I've been on some bad dates in my life, but none of them were join my pyramid scheme bad. I'll take my dates being into unexpected kinks any day, I suppose. When I was a teenager, I worked at a retail store in the mall, and a guy who worked a few stores down would always come in and talk to me. He was super sweet and genuine and would randomly take me to lunch or bring me coffee and the like. It was just nice to have someone to talk to and who seemed genuinely interested in me and what I had to say. He asked me on a date a few times, and I always declined. I don't like the idea of dating someone who I work with or work next to, just in case it goes sour. After a month or two, I finally agreed to go on a date with him, because good guys are hard to find. I couldn't just let him pass by. He picks me up at my house, and on our way to dinner, we get into a car accident. The driver's side was T-boned pretty badly, and we ended up having to go to the hospital where he contacted his roommate, who then contacted my date's girlfriend. After my freshman year of college, I met a guy on OkCupid, and we went to get dinner at Fridays as our first date. Offered to give me a ride, but I said no. He was a couple of years older, well-dressed, and started talking about how he'd started his own business after college and it was going well. Good for him. Bragging a bit, but hey, that's an accomplishment. So after we order, he says, "Let's play a game. We'll each take out our wallets and compare what's in them." Wasn't a joke, literally just started showing me his credit cards and bragging about the high limits, ending with a, "Clearly, you can't afford to pay for this dinner, but don't worry, I could cover you." I was annoyed and protested, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. So as we leave, he says he wants to show me his car. Unfortunately, it was before mine in the lot, so I had to walk by. It was a white, windowless serial killer van. He begged me to bang him in it, right there in the Fridays parking lot. I was pretty glad I drove separately. A guy I met 3 days previously offered to pick me up and hang out. I was cool with that, but he ended up dragging me around on errands. We went to his dentist appointment, and then when I said I wanted to leave, he said he'd give me a ride home, but only in exchange for oral fun times. I was pretty scared about dating after that. And no, I did not take him up on his offer. I got out right there and walked to a bus stop. I went on a date with a guy that I met online. He told me to dress nice and that he was going to take me out for dinner. He took me to Subway, ordered a foot-long teriyaki chicken sub, looked at me and said, "I hope you like teriyaki chicken." We shared the sub in his car. Safe to say, there was no second date. Narrator here, so you're telling me my main dating strategy is wrong? Went to pick up a girl at her house after meeting on a dating website. She seemed significantly larger than her photo, but only in the lower abdominal region. This is when I realized that she had failed to mention that she was pregnant. Guy I worked with kept asking me out. I continuously said no. After about a year, I started to feel bad for the guy and said yes to a date. He asked me to lunch, so I figured it could be a quick, easy date. He picked me up and took me to Wendy's, where he made me order off the dollar menu, and I could only get 2 things. After this very quiet lunch where he hunkered over his chicken nuggets like I would steal them, he said he needed to stop at Walmart. We go in and he heads to the lotion section. Strange, but whatevs. He then grabs 2 scented lotions and asks which one I like better. Being nice, I pick one, and he responds with, "Great, I'll use this for your massage." Luckily, I had to work in 2 hours and told him the massage would have to wait. I spent 3 months trying to avoid him until he quit. Well, I had this major crush on this girl. She was gothish, which isn't my thing normally, but this woman was extremely intelligent and cool. So the first date is good, we have a good time, we're both drunk, and we go back to my place. Mind you, she's very open with her sexuality, so things get hot and heavy. Right when the action is going to start, she says, "I don't actually want to do this." Imagine a semi-truck slamming on its brakes. "Okay," I say, "that's fine. We just sleep off our drink." This exact same thing happens a second time, and I'm starting to get annoyed, only because it's painfully obvious that our mutual actions during the date are leading to adult fun times. Finally, it happens a third time, and I decide I'm over this girl. About a year later, I find out from her friend that she was hoping I would act out an unspeakable act. She wants me to be like, "Screw that, we're doing this." I pointed out that this would in fact constitute an actual unspeakable act, not acting one out. I then found out she had herpes, so in the end, me for the win. On my first date with a guy off an internet dating site, he took us to the Scientology Museum in London. I thought, original, easy to find things to talk about, laugh at the craziness of this, it could be fun. He then proceeds to read every single piece of writing on every single exhibit, ask the attendant very probing questions about how one goes about joining Scientology, etc., etc., and sounding slightly too interested to just be intrigued about religion. Also, he was visibly sweating. Once we were done there, we went for a glass of wine, and he told me he used to shoot heroin. I was out of there like a shot. In college, this guy from one of my classes asked me to go out with him out of the blue. We'd never even talked before, but he was pretty cute, so I said sure. We exchanged numbers and he said he'd call me with details. He called the next day and told me we were going to a restaurant that was way out of my price range. We're talking like, no way this bill will be under $100. I tried talking him out of it, and when that didn't work, flat out saying I couldn't afford something like that. But he insists and tells me not to worry. This all really should have been a clue to me, so I say fine and we agree to go. We get to the restaurant and waiter comes over and I go to order, the cheapest thing on the menu, when he stops me and says, "Ignore her, we're both having the steak." But I don't like steak. "She's just saying that because she's poor. We'll have steak," and shoos the waiter away. I'm mortified and angry and want to leave, but he was my ride. He tries to make conversation and just proves to me that he really is a butt. He then says that he has to go to the bathroom and leaves. I'm sitting there for a good 10 minutes before he texts me, "Ha ha ha, I got the squirts from drinking last night, don't eat without me." And that was the last straw. I call the waiter over, pay for my meal, and go to the Starbucks down the street to call my friend to pick me up. In summary, guy was trying to impress me and was the world's biggest butt. Just to clear some things up, I paid for just my meal, not his, and I'm well aware I didn't owe him anything. I just wanted to make a clean break from this guy. I know for a fact that bad dates are not a gender-exclusive experience, but I can't help noticing that the girls seem to have a disproportionate number of horror stories in this thread. Funny that. I went on a few dates with a guy in college. At first I was excited because I found him attractive and he said yes to a dinner date. Turns out even attractive people can be a bag of crazy. First we go out to an Italian restaurant. He orders spaghetti with regular sauce, no meatballs. Out of curiosity, I ask if he's tried anything else on the menu he could recommend. "Nope, I only ever order spaghetti." Food comes and he proceeds to lean over his plate, shovel the spaghetti in his mouth and use his lips to cut the rest back on his plate. I'm no snob. I've eaten spaghetti like that before. Just never in public. He says it's the right way to eat it. He asks if I'd like to go see a movie. I'm not feeling the vibe, so I decline, make up some project I need to finish. He tells me he loves the movies, wishes he could just live in one all the time. Alright, well, thanks for the date. A week later, he asks me out again. I decide to give him another shot. Maybe I was being overly judgmental or petty. We agree to go out for a pizza and see a movie. I pick him up at his house and we go to Pizza Hut at his insistence. "Best pizza on the planet," he tells me about 3 times on the way there. We get there and he orders a personal pan for himself. That was a first. Okay, he didn't want to share the bill maybe. I order one for myself and just let it go. Again, worrying maybe I'm being judgy. Bill comes and he pays, so now I'm really confused, but whatever. I'm not going to call him out, not worth it. Movie ended up being back at his house where, surprise, he lives with his parents. His dad asks me what I'm in school for, and when I tell him, he lectures me that I should go to school for teaching, since that's what he does. Okay, nice meeting you. We never did watch the movie, spent the rest of the evening with him showing me all his WWF wrestling memorabilia and bossing his mother around Cartman style. His life goal was to get his old job at Blockbuster back, since it was the most fun he'd ever have. His favourite way to spend Christmas was when his mum let him open everything the night before, so he could spend the day at the movies, avoiding all the relatives that come over for Christmas dinner. He hated everything his mother cooked, and counted off to me the only 10 foods he would ever eat, hated everything else, and didn't even need to try it. Did I mention he was 27 years old? A few days later, he invites me out to coffee, and I agree so I can tell him I won't be going on any more dates with him. He was nice enough, and even though he was an oddball, we never got each other to laugh. All our conversations were dry, no shared interests, and he didn't have the same values on the importance of family, so this wasn't going to work. We meet up and he orders a meal while I get my coffee. I tell him that I enjoyed our dates, but I won't be seeing him again. He yells, "So you're breaking up with me?" No, we're not anything official. "I can't believe you're dumping me." And he storms out, leaving his food behind half-eaten. I sit there for a few minutes kind of stunned, slightly amused, but okay, life goes on. A few weeks go by and now it's the holidays. I run into him again, and this time we do hit it off. He seems to laugh easier, tells a good joke, etc. He asks what I'm doing for New Year's, and I invite him to the party I was going to. I figure, hey, maybe we can at least be friends. I tell him about the other girls that will be there, and he seems to get the hint that we aren't going as a couple. We get to the party, and he loudly declares that he doesn't drink. That's fine, no one reacts, no biggie. He sits in the corner, refusing to acknowledge anyone. He seems upset for some reason, so I ask him what's wrong. He's upset because the movie trivia we were playing earlier had a mistake in it. Alright, we'll get the info off the box and write to them. He seems to cheer up after this. Later, he sneaks into the kitchen and begins to prepare himself a mixed drink by pouring a little of everything into a glass. He doesn't notice me, and he's talking to himself going, "Yeah, a little of this, ooh, maybe some of that," and he takes a sip of his rum, cranberry, Malibu, Dr. Pepper, orange juice, mint schnapps with a splash of tap water, and pours the rest down the drain. I don't think he wanted to admit that he didn't know how alcohol worked. On the drive home the next morning, he pretended to have a hangover and didn't talk much. I'm driving and the roads are icy, so I'm not minding the silence. About 30 minutes left in the trip, and he asks me what I want to do with my college degree. I tell him my plans and stuff I'm excited to do. He then says, "I don't see the point of you wasting your time getting a degree. You'll just be spending the rest of your life raising my children and cooking me meals that I like." It took all I had not to dump him off right there on the freeway. He continues to say demeaning nonsense about our future, how he'll convince me to drop out of college, how pointless it is for all women to get degrees, blah, blah, blah. My ears begin ringing with rage. I've never had someone say anything so outrightly unsupportive or sexist like that to my face. I knew he had some strange social issues, maybe some anxiety about trying new things, but this was too much. I calmly told him I was not going to be told my lot in life is to raise his babies on his part-time Blockbuster paycheck. I didn't say another word to him, just dropped him off at his car and drove off. I did learn never to feel obligated to put up with someone's bullcrap. I kept giving him chances when I shouldn't have. But in the end, I think I needed to learn that lesson. Now I'm really careful about not leading men on, especially if they have poor social skills. There's been a few, but the absolute worst was the woman who turned up to the pub with literally no money, expecting me to buy her drinks and dinner. I wouldn't have minded if she had told me beforehand, but this was completely out of the blue. So anyway, we sat there making awkward conversation, or at least I tried to start a conversation, told her about my life, asked her questions. She was too busy texting and phoning her friends to really take notice. So eventually we did get talking, then out of nowhere she told me that she killed her dog. Not accidentally either. I just upped and left and avoided all contact. That was 2 years ago. Ah, the Irish goodbye, effective for parties, conversations with your racist grandparents, and antisocial dates who have killed and, for all we know, eaten their dogs. There are some worthwhile theories about this lady in the comments. She just wanted a free meal but didn't want a date. Jenny, how do I get out of this date? Tell him you killed your dog, lol. With dating, you have to avoid people who are just hungry. I had just gotten into college and was single, so I couldn't wait to meet some girls there. I sat next to a really cool girl in German class, very outdoorsy, went camping a lot, which is awesome. I do too. On the last night of a project we were working on together, I gathered the nerve to ask her out and she quickly said, "Sure." I picked her up the next night, and we go to dinner. Everything is going great, had some good small talk, laughed quite a bit. Then the food arrives. She immediately pulls out a Bible from her purse and says we should recite a passage before eating. I'm an atheist, but I don't really mind if a person is religious. I refuse to judge anyone on that basis alone. So we recite a verse, thank the Lord for our meal, etc. As soon as I start eating, the first question she asks is, "Have you found a good church around here? I've been to a couple, but I don't really like them." I froze like a deer in the headlights. I've never been to church in my entire life, so I have no clue as to what she would think is a good church. After contemplating what to say for a second, I decide to just tell her I'm an atheist. I mean, heck, I don't care that she's religious and said a Bible verse or prayer before the meal, so maybe she won't care that I'm an atheist, right? Not even close. She gives me this weird, evil, astonished look, immediately grabs her Bible, flips through it for a second and starts quoting a passage about sinners going to hell. I knew I should have gotten up and left right away, but I have an entire steak I just paid $25 for sitting in front of me. I hurry up and down the steak, potatoes, and vegetables in about 10 minutes. During these 10 minutes, she's still reciting passages, talking about how I'm going to hell. I just nodded and continued inhaling my food. Pulled out a piece of paper with about 5 cab companies' phone numbers on it, grabbed about $75, threw it on the table. The only thing I said to her was, "That should be plenty of money to pay for dinner and get you a cab home." The next day, she texted me and sort of apologized. By sort of, I mean the text read something like, "I didn't mean to offend you, but you need to recant your sins or spend eternity in hell." Next day, I'm off to German class, wondering what may happen when I see her. Oddly enough, she wasn't there. Next day comes and not there again. I asked the professor if she had received word as to why she hadn't shown up, and the teacher told me that she had dropped the class the day before. That was a relief. Now fast forward 4 years and I'm a senior at a random bar near campus. And guess who is there drunk out of her mind? Yep, it's the good old religious girl. I try to stay away from her, but she spots me, runs up to me and hugs me, which I find very strange. I don't hold grudges, so I hug her back. She buys me a drink I didn't ask for, but I accept because I'm fairly broke. She damn near demands I drink it with her, so whatever, I'll do it. I try to be a nice guy from time to time. Not more than 10 minutes later, she says, "We should go back to my place and hang out," while rubbing her hand up my thigh. I turn around, point to my girlfriend and say, "See her? That's my girlfriend, and she has never cared that I'm an atheist. Thanks for the drink." Walked away and never saw her again. In summary, religious girl claims I'm going to hell for being an atheist on our first date. 4 years later, she's drunk at a bar trying to take me home with her for adult fun times. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, linked at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot, linked in the description too. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.